Well, what do I think? I tell you what, I just did Facebook Live. I tell you what, we are Facebook Live right now. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm kind of crazy trying to do all this stuff and keep the balls in the air and deliver information. So here we are, just getting ready for the day. Actually, I'm already live on Facebook because I'm running behind because I'm doing all this other stuff. But anyways, how you doing this morning? How you doing? Anyways, let's see. I just was doing something.
Oh, that's right. It's almost time for the I Love Angie.
That's right. That's live on That's a Facebook one I just did. Just a little reel here. I got a story going. I guess I can take that phone down now. I am too crazy. All right. Anyways, how's everybody doing this morning? Hope you tuned in and check out my little Facebook promo here that I did this morning. You got to stay tuned all the time, and you got to sign up for notifications. Why? Because I am going to be going live again a little after 11 o'clock. We'll be at an event. It's a veterans event, so I will be there then, and we'll be bringing that to you. I tell you what, there is just too much going on, and I'm just too nuts. I don't think I realize that I've gotten old. What do you mean you've gotten old? Well, sometimes you're just trying to do all this technology stuff. But anyways, let's get started and talk about some of the good things that are going on or bad things. Today is election day. Well, I don't think we actually have anything going on here in Greenwood. If I'm wrong, let me know. We do have in 96, Abbeville, Calhoun Falls, Ware Shoals, I believe, is having an election. So, we got to get things straight in South Carolina. But let me tell you this. I will be so glad when the socialist doesn't win in New York City. Well, that's what I said. Don't know if I'm true on that, but are you tired of hearing this? I just saw. I'm just going to tell you. This is totally unscripted and live, Ann Eller. That's right. I just saw Como on Fox and Friends, and the question was, will you just apologize to the people of New York for all the lives that were lost under your watch? Well, I don't know what he was talking about. He's sitting there talking about, we did the best we could. He's going on and on. All anybody asked the man was, would you apologize? And the first thing I think out of his mouth was, I've already done that many times. And then proceeds to tell why his story is correct. Finally, I think one of his people must have been standing off the camera and was saying, probably had a sign that just said, just say I'm sorry. God almighty. Because all of a sudden he goes, and of course I'm very sorry. When all he had to do was cut the crap and just say you're sorry. He got President Trump's endorsement yesterday, and he couldn't just be, oh my God, I have an opportunity to win, I'll just shut up. No. He's a politician. He has to keep dribbling it out there. Anyways, I don't know about you, but I will be glad to see this over. I am going to be very sad if Winsome Sears does not win in Virginia the governorship. She has such a great story. She has done a good job for the state. But again, she's in a difficult position because she was the lieutenant governor, which makes it difficult. Although I can't understand why she was not a Winsome Sears, I'm talking about, almost a shoo-in. But evidently the Virginia is more purple than we thought. So if this is, I just wonder what things will be undone that the former governor, well, he's not former yet, but he will be the former governor who won in a landslide the last time. Anyways, moving on. Como versus Mondani. I tell you what, that race is just. I did think that Como this morning on Fox and Friends did a good job of saying what Mondani can deliver and what he can't. He can't do rent-controlled apartments. He can't give free buses. That comes from the state, the prices that they charge. And he clicked off the things right down the line. The question will be, will people hold their nose and vote for Como, or will they vote for this socialist who can absolutely, hopefully, not change everything that has happened in New York and make it worse? But it's a pretty tight race. So for me, tonight, it'll be interesting to see who won. I love watching the figures coming in. So many times, though, it's like, well, we can project that this one won. Well, you just closed the polls 10 minutes ago. So I hope it has a little more, just for the heck of it, a little more drama. How about you? 864 332-9355. Love to hear from you. Are you ready for this election stuff to be over? I am. Because you know what? Next year, we're going to be back in it again. This is the thing about it. We'll be back in it again. All right. So, big story, of course. I'm sure you've heard all about it. Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace has really, I think we could say, stirred the pot this time. I really think she has stirred the pot. I am so sick of hearing about Nancy Mace and what she thinks or doesn't think should be happening in our state. You know, of course, that she wants to be the governor for the great state of South Carolina, and she has issued a statement that the police have airport security have totally not treated her right, which has led to all kinds of rants. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Not a lot, but I thought that would be interesting to talk about. More interesting is the comments. Is the comments from people on Nancy Mace. So I was trying to get back here to what I had. Yeah, she's got that picture of her and Trump right up there. She's she's doing a little live video right as we look at this, right as I'm here with you on the radio. Last night I posted a video from the airport that the airport did not disclose and was trying to hide. They completely changed their policy on escorting dignitaries. Filing false incident reports and lying about a conservative member of Congress will do that to you. So instead of investigating the matter, they've taken the path to cover it up. Don't worry, I will have more to say today. I'll see you boys in the airport. Hold the line. I just don't know where she gets all this stuff. Last night she said she had Nancy Mace is the only candidate for governor who ended the career of sanctuary sheriff in South Carolina. That's one of her big things. But she is constantly saying, thank you for your support when people are totally slamming her. I was looking for that one that I saw last night. She had 216 comments when I looked at it last night. I don't know where she's going with all this. Does she really not read South Carolina? And they're talking about she has to have this AI, this bot that just keeps answering things, and they all say, regardless of what the people say, basically, that she appreciates their support when all these people are telling her, hell no. However, the people that are supporting Nancy Mace are people from outside our state. People saying, I wish I could vote for you, Nancy. I think you're doing a good job, yada, yada, yada. And so she just keeps going on and on and on about how things are. Do you think that Nancy Mace should be the next governor? That is the question I'm asking here this morning. 864-332-9355. If you're on the radio and you just want to raise your hand and just say yes, or do you hold your hand down and say no? First question, do you think Nancy Mace should be the governor for the great state of South Carolina? Now, if you're making a turn or something, don't raise your hand if you're driving. Okay, I don't see many hands up there. All right, now, how can I see you? Because I've got super X-ray vision, folks. Now, if you do not think that Nancy Mace should be the next governor for the great state of South Carolina, raise your hand. This is for all those who do not think that Nancy Mace should be governor. Oh my God, nobody's got their hands on the wheel. What's going on out there on the bypass? Anyways, Nancy Mace, she likes to use the F-bombs. She is quite different than what I think we want for our governor here. And how does someone you're supposed to be on the lookout for slip right by you? Somebody said this is on her Facebook page, well, it happens to Bigfoot hunters all the time. Representative Nancy Mace demands Charleston Airport correct false incident reports and releases staff text messages with airport security. Congressman Nancy Mace today released text messages communicating directly to contradict false claims made in Charleston International Airport incident reports regarding the security breach on Thursday. That was October 30th. Text messages between Representative Mace's staff and the Charleston Airport security sent on Wednesday show the airport security was provided complete advance information, telling what time, where she would be dropped off, etc., etc. The incident report falsely suggests that security was told to look for a white BMW, and that was why officers couldn't locate her. In reality, the text messages clearly show her team specified a silver BMW, which matches the vehicle seen in the footage. This is a story that maybe should just die. In this particular post, she has 785 comments. Some from just grow up to thank God you're uncovering this stuff. Congressman Nancy Mace has an airport meltdown on cops, screeches that they're blank incompetent is an insane viral rant. Republican Nancy Mace, who loves lecturing America about respecting police, reportedly detonated into a profanity-laced tirade at Charleston International Airport, berating TSA workers and police officers because she didn't get VI treatment fast enough. The Law and Order Republican belongs behind bars for this behavior. It just goes on and on and on, and there were tons of them. But her cussing out at TSA officers and this type of thing certainly doesn't show any grace, particularly in a situation where they are working and not getting paid, and Nancy Mace is working and it is not working. She's headed, I guess, to Washington, but she is still getting paid. I actually wonder if the legislators were not getting paid, would it make any difference in how quick they would be back to work if they had to deal with what everybody else is dealing? So, just wanted to mention that this morning. That's something that is all over social media. It's in the news. It is everywhere that you look. So I just thought I would give you a little heads up on that because you might hear more about that. All right, moving on to some other stories here today. I did have a chance to go back and watch some of the interview with on CBS 60 Minutes. I didn't watch the whole unedited version, but I will say that I thought Trump did an excellent job, what he is so good at, boring in, staying focused. When he said that he was better looking than Mondavi when she asked about a competition between them two, Trump just very softly, didn't get over the top, didn't get excited. And of course that question from the interviewer was to make him get try to rattle his cage. And he just looked at her and he goes, "Well, I think I'm better looking." Sometimes I think Trump has a terrific way of when the media are trying to get him off his game, that he has a terrific job of just getting calmer and calmer and calmer. So, and I think it's pretty cool that he actually went back on CBS after getting $16 million settlement for the Kamala Harris interview. Now, I mean, they say that they freely say they edit things for time. It's just how you edit it is the most important thing. So I think that interview was pretty interesting. I love the question. So, are you planning to go to war with XYZ? Well, why would I tell you that, was the answer. That's got to be a stupid question. So much for there are no stupid questions, correct? So much for that. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller right here with you this morning. If you've got a comment about any of the things going on out there, I would love to hear from you, hear what you have to say. Nancy Mace is obviously just spinning out. But, the thing about it is she's getting a lot of support outside our state. People like that type of thing. What people don't understand here in South Carolina, I don't think we like that stuff. But she's getting a lot of support outside the state, not so much in the state. That's the biggest thing that you can actually see as far as that goes. Another topic, because I got to flip through here. As I said, I've got somewhere to be at 11 o'clock, so I got to keep it moving. Today is November 4th. It is National Candy Day. National Candy Day. And it's also National Chicken Lady Day. That's the only two things on the calendar, which I find usually, there's a lot of different days. But there is National Candy Day. It says National Candy Day is, what does it say about National Candy Day? It's the late 13th century Middle English first began using the word candy, borrowed from the Old French. Curse candy is derived from blah, 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 blah. People actually used candy as which I agree with. They used candy as a medicine. Yes, they saw that it would help upset tummies and this type of thing. So they they used candy that way. People made the first candies from honey. Of course, they coated it with honey, nuts, flowers with honey. This method preserved the flowers and the nuts or created forms of candy. So originally a form of medicine, candy calmed the digestive system or cooled or sore throat. So that was what candy was first for. Boy, have we gone a long way from that, right? Since 1979, the world has produced more sugar than can be sold, making it very attainable and cheap. But I just thought 1847, Oliver R. Chase invents and patents the first candy press in America. In 1897, in Nashville, Tennessee, two guys invented the first cotton candy machine, and they were called, the cotton candy was actually called Fairy Floss. Fairy Floss. How about that? But anyways, all this different thing, I think it's kind of funny, though, that they did it on the 4th of November rather than on Halloween, the 31st. But they still have never come up with how that day was picked. I just was looking for that to see if they ever came up with why it is on November 4th. But they have not. So that's that one. And then there's National Chicken Day. Chicken Lady Day. Come on, Ann, get it right. I don't know if you know this, but National Chicken Lady Day on November 4th actually honors Dr. Mathena Tina Dupree. She was not widely known due to her work in the community. During this time, and through her work with the community and the people she helped, she became known as the Chicken Lady. She worked for the second largest chicken restaurant in the world as the Director of Community Relations and Training. And that is how we got National Chicken Lady Day. For more than 2 decades, Dr. Dupree helped to teach, train, and certify hundreds of professional speakers, authors, and trainers. In 2001, National Chicken Lady Day was created as a way of saying thank you to Dr. Dupree. She is thanked not only by those she directly affected over the years, but by those who continue to feel her positive impacts later as a result of her experience, knowledge, and relationships she built. So therefore, not what you would have thought of. Okay. I just thought I'd share that with you. I thought that was kind of neat. I, of course, thought it was something else. And since I have many friends that are women who like chickens, I was thinking that maybe it would be about chicken ladies. But no, it's not. It's not. All right. Other things that are out there in the news. J.D. Vance is in the news. I don't know if you were seeing when he was on that special turning point that they were doing at one of the schools. Erica Kirk was there. She spoke, and then J.D. Vance came out. And he said that he was asked a question about his Christianity and about his wife, and she is a Hindu. And he said that he did say in his comment that he would hope that someday that she would consider converting to Christianity. But people became obsessed with that. And so J.D. Vance came out. If I'm her, I'm pissed, J.D. Vance responded to backlash after saying he wishes his wife would become a Christian, and made it 100% worse. it's got to be difficult. It's got to be difficult. That's all I have to say. While debating college students at a Turning Point USA event, Vance said he wished his wife, a practicing Hindu, would be somehow moved by the church and become a Christian. I do believe that Vance is Catholic, I do believe. And so after the video went viral, many people spoke out in defense of Usha Vance. If I'm her, I'm pissed, one person wrote. And another gal, I'm sorry they have been married for 11 years and he is somehow still hoping she will change religions and saying it in public. If I'm her, I'm pissed. I mean, that was over and over the comments that came out. And so that's why he took to X, and he goes, and this is his quote, "What a disgusting comment, and it's hardly been the only one along these lines. First off, the question was from a person seeming to my left about my interfaith marriage. I'm a public figure and people are curious, and I wasn't going to avoid the question. This was at the rally. Second, my Christian faith tells me the gospel is true and it is good for human beings. My wife, as I said at the TPUSA, is the most amazing blessing I have in my life. She herself encouraged me to re-engage with my faith many years ago. She is not a Christian and has no plans to convert, but like many people in an interfaith marriage or any interfaith relationship, I hope she may one day see things as I do. Regardless, I'll continue to love and support her and walk and talk to her about faith and life and everything else because she is my wife." Third post, like this wreck of anti-Christian bigotry, yes, Christians have belief, and yes, those beliefs have many consequences. One is which that we want to share them with other people. That is completely normal thing, and anyone who is telling you anything else otherwise has an agenda. So, what do you think about that? And how do you think her position, how do you think that that position would have made her feel? I'm sure it was very uncomfortable at the time, but I am equally sure that it is not the first time that something like this has come up. Somebody just said something about batshit crazy. I think they're referring to Nancy Mace in this case. I think that's what we're talking about. I just saw their comment. All right. Yeah, somebody else. Okay. Anyways, we'll go back to Nancy Mace. We've got some interesting comments coming in on that. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I did want to finish this about J.D. Vance. You've got to give him credit for answering the question that was asked. And the question was, how do you square work? You're in an interfaith marriage. How does this work? I don't have the exact question. He answered the question, though. And I give him a lot of credit for answering the question. The responses may not have been what anybody wanted, but he answered the question. And that's what makes for what we're looking for in life. Somebody that can answer the questions, take the heat, and then come back with an answer, which, of course, because he is the vice president, he got a lot of oxygen there. So that's just my comment about that. I just wanted to bring that up because I think that goes to the struggles that a lot of people have, not only in religion, but in a lot of different aspects of life. And somehow people make it work. So let's see, what else do we have here this morning? We're going to go back to Nancy Mace in a moment. So if you'd like to weigh in on Nancy Mace, 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. I hope I wasn't responsible for any accidents on the bypass this morning when we did that little survey. For those that were, in case you missed it, we did a survey right here on the radio. Yes, I have x-ray vision. I have cameras up and down the bypass, which I can check out at any time. That's a story, too. Anyways. Okay. The question was, would you vote for Nancy Mace for governor? Raise your right hand. And I guess there were one or two that might have, but they're so out of the loop we can't even count them folks. But basically, most people said no. And then I asked the question, would anybody not vote for Nancy Mace for governor? And we almost had some wrecks because people were raising their hands and not paying attention to the traffic. So I don't think I'll try that anymore. But there had to be about 200 people. That's a quick count of people raising their right hand saying no, they didn't want Nancy Mace for governor. All right. So let's check out some of these texts that have come in this morning. Here's one. The people outside the state are not stuck with her. That's a good one, right? Another one says, what does this person say? They think she spun out and they think that she should not go back to Washington, D.C. Well, I don't think she wants to go back to Washington, D.C., just for the record. I think she is actually looking for an off-ramp out of Washington, D.C. A couple other people said things similar to that one about being bat. Oh, wait a minute, don't want to do that. About somebody else said something about batshit crazy. Here we go. Yeah, no, people outside the state are not stuck with her. And then several other people have said things similar to, hell no, not in our state. Thank God we've got other people running and she's not the only candidate. Go home, Nancy. Go. What did somebody just say? Why doesn't she move to Washington, D.C.? You know, the thing about it is, Nancy Mace is going to be out of office with her actions. Even Charleston, even the area that she's from what I've seen, is not too happy with having her as a representative. I don't know what position she's going to go to. I know she's got her heart set on governor, but what is she going to do if she doesn't make that? And there are certainly a lot of other candidates that are going to make it. God, I saw where Ralph Norman was over in Lawrence the other day. I just should have known about that. Maybe we could have gotten an interview. But I do think that we have some really great candidates running for office. I also find it kind of interesting that Nancy Mace is so on our Attorney General, Alan Wilson, constantly calling him out about the pedophiles and everything. And I just don't get the fascination with this one particular candidate. Why is it that she can't just run her own race? Because she doesn't have anything to run on, Anne. Well, I understand. All right, today's quote. We are going to have to finish up pretty quick here this morning. Today's quote. If you ever inject truth into politics, you will have no politics. There you go. If you ever inject truth into politics, you will have no politics. Who made that quote? Will Rogers. Is that not great? If you ever injected truth into politics, you have no politics. Will Rogers said that. Do you think that is true? I certainly do. This is something that we constantly are dealing with, and the truth is very, very, very hard to find. So, 864 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Please let me know what you're thinking about some of these topics this morning. I do think that they are interesting. Also, had a couple of serious things, I guess, this morning. The Trump administration is saying that they are going to pay about half of the SNAP benefits amid the shutdown. I think what they're doing in Louisiana is what they should be doing for SNAP anyways, but I do not understand why they're not adopting something like that. It says the U.S. Department of Agriculture will pay about half of November benefits for the Supplemental Nutritional Instant SNAP program. Could take months to flow to recipients, the department said Monday in a brief federal court in Rhode Island. President Donald Trump's administration pay at least a portion of the benefits to the 42 million people who receive assistance through the program by the end of Wednesday, despite the government shutdown. That is a 4-page report from the USDA, answered U.S. District Chief Judge John J. McConnell Jr.'s order that President Trump's administration pay at least half by the end of Wednesday. The USDA action does not address what would happen if the shutdown stretches beyond November. McConnell on Saturday laid out 2 options for the administration: pay for partial benefits by the end of Wednesday through a contingency fund, which currently has about $4.65 billion available, or pay a full month of benefits by tapping other reserve sources such as the Child Nutrition Program by the end of Monday. USDA opted to use the contingency fund, giving the department until the end of Wednesday to pay out benefits. I'm not really sure I understand, other than I think if I had to make a choice on who I was going to pay benefits to, I would do like what Louisiana is doing. They are paying benefits to seniors, those with disability, parents with children, and those, if you are an able-bodied person who's just, maybe we should say, down on your luck, isn't working for whatever reason, then you don't get benefits. But instead of doing partial to everybody, why don't we take care of those that really need the program? And since I found out that all these programs, you are labeled as what type of person you are: a senior, disabled, mother, father with children, it would be very easy to look at those and get those monies out immediately. I think it's really great, all the food drives that are happening. People are really pitching in to make sure that people do not go hungry. But this is not an answer that is really going to work for getting food on the table. As I've said before, the food banks say it's not going to work. They are struggling. We need those benefits, and I really wish that South Carolina had stepped up to the plate and at least put money out to the same as Louisiana, the disabled, the seniors, and parents with children, so they would make sure they would cover those. Now, what is here? Here's another question that I have. Do you think the shutdown will be over tomorrow? I mean, tomorrow after the election, do you think the shutdown will be over? If you're out there, raise your hand. Do you think the shutdown's going to end tomorrow? I'm going to say yes. I think the shutdown will end tomorrow or the next day. The shutdown will end. Do you think that the shutdown will continue? You can vote that way, or you could say depends how the Democrats do in the election as to whether this goes on. Those are your 3 options. Yes, it's going to be over. No, it's not going to be over, or depending on how the Democrats do in the election is what people will be going with. If the Democrats do well, will they keep it going? Anyways, so that's what I want to know. 864-332-9355. Which way do you think it's going to go? I think the Democrats are getting too damaged, regardless of how they do in the election. Regardless of how they spin it, they need this to be over. The thing on health care is a big issue, but they can't get any traction if they don't open up the government. Let's see. Somebody just wrote in on the SNAP thing, SNAP benefits. I do not understand how they can keep taking the money out of my paycheck to go towards the SNAP benefits, but not issued to them, the recipient. I do not understand why air traffic controllers are not getting paid and being forced to work, but Congress is getting paid and they're not being forced to work. See, this is common sense stuff, isn't it? This is common sense stuff. I know that Sherry Biggs' office, because I asked her this question directly, her staff is not getting paid, but they are working. And this is what you're seeing in Washington. Some are working, some aren't working, but I do know that her office is working. But I totally agree. If Congress people, whether they're in the Senate or the House, did not get paid during a government shutdown, then maybe they would come to the table a little quicker. I doubt if it'd be a lot quicker, but at least a little quicker when it started to really, really hurt. Our air traffic controllers, we are, I don't know about you, but I don't think I want to fly anywhere right now. So all these things are being affected. And what will be amazing when the shutdown is over and everybody claims that they will have won something, the Democrats will claim what? What are the Democrats going to claim? That they held the government hostage and it doesn't really matter what they did to the people. They made their point. Our system is really broken. It does need to be shaken up. We did get a president going in a direction, but when you have so many that are swamp people, the swamp people, that you have a difficult time totally changing the direction. Now, I don't think that Donald Trump is absolutely right on everything, but I do think that he has moved the needle to start going in the right direction. What's going to happen on the health care? I think you need to remember one thing about the health care. These subsidies that they're talking about were ones that both House and the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, voted on a bill that became a law that said that these extra subsidies would expire, and they would expire this year in 2025. They did that a couple of years ago. Under another administration, I might add. There will still be subsidies there, but just not the mega subsidies that were voted in during COVID. And that is where the problem is. They were too much, maybe they thought they were doing the right thing at the time, but they lasted too long. It's just like all our governments that got so used to all the government money that came down, and literally long after COVID is gone, governments are still trying to figure out how to spend all this money that was sent their way. Excuse me. So the bottom line is, COVID became an economic engine, particularly for the Biden administration. The problem is now we're left to deal with this futuristically. And that is why a lot of our schools had all these extra budgets. Actually, GPA, Greenwood Performing Arts, did a camp out at a couple of years ago, not last year, I guess it was year before, and it was because they had COVID money they had to spend. Well, I mean, we provided a great program, but the money that was spent was money that was spent from the federal government. So now you look at, well, we can't have this, we can't have that. Well, you still can. But the problem is the federal government pushed out so much money that nobody realized what the effect was going to be after the money was gone. And that is part of the problem of what we're dealing with. And that is why this thing with the insurance is really going to be a gut wrench, because this was extra subsidies, not the normal subsidies. And of course, if they had looked at and been forward thinking about this type of thing happening with the price of insurance, the inflation, et cetera, maybe they would have made some different decisions based on original Obamacare subsidies. But they haven't done anything about it, and this is where we're at. What will they do? I have no idea. Hopefully, they will be able to make some compromise to help some of the people, maybe not all the people, but some of the people be able to afford the insurance. They surely are not going to go back and overhaul, Obamacare at this point. They have to put a Band-Aid on it, and then it would be great if next year they would sit down and really look at it. But what do you think the likelihood of that is? Nada. I agree. Nada. So, anyways, I just thought I would bring that up to you so that you would be in the loop and understand really what is happening out there. All right. Well, while I could talk a whole lot longer today, I have a lot more topics. I do have someplace I need to go so I can report back. We may go Facebook Live out there at this event, so stay tuned. Keep your Facebook. If you're on Facebook, make sure you keep us with you so you can be apprised as to what's going on. Sign up for notifications on WCRS 98.5 FM /1450 AM. Like and follow, and sign up for notifications, because when we go live, bam, it's just like we're live. Yeah, I'm kind of crazy. I am. But I love this job. A little tired. Time change. Going in the mountains. Doing all the stuff I do. I got a big week this week coming up this afternoon. Denise Holland, the new CEO of the United Way, will be joining us to talk about what she sees futuristically, how some of the projects are shaping up. It'll be a most interesting conversation, I'm sure. Please tune in 5 to 6 today. And tomorrow, we will have Rob Jones of Patterson Insurance with us, sitting down to talk about some of the issues, particularly in the Medicare field, and what you need to be looking for as you're trying to make your decisions, what plan to go with. Some plans are going away, so you need to be apprised as to what you are or are not getting in your policies. So this is a great one. And remember, if you've got a question, you can always go ahead and text to me or call and leave a message. It turns into a text, 864-332-9355. I am Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. We are going to put the curtain down. Cue the music. Yes, we'll cue the music. And I hope you all have a great day.
Keep on sharing. The phones are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You gotta keep on caring. As long
long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth.